Okay, following on from the video I did HU92 twin lifter on an E46 BMW, I'm going to attempt now to pick it with an HU92 single lifter. What you will find with HU92 is that the twin lifter will open some locks, but it won't open all locks. HU92 single lifter would always be my go-to pick first for the HU92. Generally the single lifter should open most HU92 locks, and with the single lifter you're able to apply a little bit more tension than you are with the twin lifter. To make sure that the pick is all the way in, slight tension. There's a slight pick on 1, it's bouncing. Number 3 is solid, there was a slight pick, now it is bouncing. Number 5 is solid, there's a slight pick, now it seems to be bouncing. Number 7 is solid, there's a slight pick, it feels still solid. There was another pick there, now it's bouncing. Number 8 is bouncing. Number 6 is bouncing. Number 4 seems to be bouncing. Number 2 seems to be bouncing. So now I will put on a bit more tension. Number 1 seems solid, now it's bouncing. Number 3 is bouncing. Number 5 seems to be bouncing. Number 7 seems to be bouncing. Number 8 seems to be bouncing. Number 6 seems to be bouncing. Number 4 seems to be bouncing. Number 2, there seems to be a pick there. So increase the tension a little bit. Number 1 is bouncing. Number 3 is bouncing. Number 5 is bouncing. Number 7 is bouncing. Number 8 is solid. There's a pick there, now it's bouncing. Number 6 is bouncing. Number 4 is bouncing. Number 2 is solid. So back up to number 1 is bouncing. Number 3 is bouncing. Number 5 is bouncing. Number 7 is bouncing. Number 8 is solid. There's a pick there. Number 6 is solid. Now it's bouncing. Number 4 is bouncing. Number 2 is solid. So back to number 1 is bouncing. 3 is bouncing. 5 is bouncing. 7 is bouncing. Bit more tension. 8 has had a little pick. 6 is now bouncing. 4 is bouncing. 2 is solid. Small pick there. Up to number 1 bouncing. Up to number 3 bouncing. 5 bouncing. 7 bouncing. 8, there was a small pick there, now it's bouncing. Number 6 is solid, there's a small pick, now it's bouncing. Number 4 is bouncing. Number 2 is solid. Now there's a small pick. Bit more tension. 1 is bouncing. 3 is bouncing. 5 is bouncing. 7 is bouncing. 8 is a small pick. 6 is a small pick. 4 is bouncing. 2, there's a small pick. Back up to 1. 3, 5, 7, all bouncing. back down to this bottom row. 8 is a pick, 6 is a pick, 4 there was a pick, seems to be bouncing, and 2 there's a pick, and there's another pick there with 2. So we quickly, I'm going to go back to this bottom row. There was a pick there on 8, there's a pick there on 6, 4 seems to be bouncing, there's a pick there on 2. I'm going to go back to this bottom row again. There's another pick there on 8, there's a pick there on 6, 4's bouncing, and there it's gone. So that's with the HU92 single lifter. The other thing that I would say when picking, if I let that close again, I always keep one finger on the top and I use one finger to lift. The reason being is that finger on the top stops me from over picking. It kind of steadies my hand, and the pick won't over pick because my finger is there. So it enables me to do a much more softer or gentler pick by having my finger there. And then if I'm doing it on the bottom, I've got my thumb there and I'm picking down. Again, start off with a light pressure, increase the tension as you go along, and that's it really. Happy picking.